What is a scam, and how do you spot one? Scams have become very popular in more recent years. The ongoing problem of data theft, data breaches, phishing, and other scams have all been on the rise over the last 4 years, especially since the coronavirus pandemic made all of us use our own computers and internet. This has seen a massive spike in the number of people working from home, but at the same time, data breaches and other nasties have been getting more advanced and have been happening more frequently. In Australia, for example, there was a massive Medibank data breach in 2023 that resulted in many accounts being compromised. A similar thing happened with the Optus data breach that happened the same year. But it's not just Australia that faces these issues. Scams are an ongoing problem all over the world. In fact, countries with a larger population may be more of a target than a less populated place. A scam is often a thing that may look legitimate, but in fact it is far from being legitimate. For example, a scammer could be hosting a fake Microsoft site to trick you into thinking your system has been infected or spoofed, and this often gets the user to call or text a number they see on screen, or go to a website where a person will supposedly help them. Other scams include buying something and getting something completely different, and telemarketing is also often a type of scam, to get people to buy stuff. Except a telemarketer is far more likely to repeatedly call your number and keep demanding you buy something off of them. A prank call can also be seen as a scam, but it is not usually considered a scam. The prank call must involve bribing the individual for his or her personal information, ranging from credit card details to usernames and passwords for various online accounts, and a prank call is often considered illegal and a type of harassment or threat. So many places do not tolerate it well. Many serve severe punishments for those who engage in prank calling, and prank calling is not exactly the same as scamming. Scammers often use a variety of methods to deliver their scams, common methods including calling or texting a phone number, sending an email with an attachment, to get the user hooked into the dodgy deal, or they could also be hosting their own page on Facebook or a popular website. Heck, it could even be their own website, although most scams happen through phone calls, texts, emails. Other ways you can be scammed are by clicking on ads, which redirect you to a scam, such as winning a free iPhone, if your browser has a hijacker installed. That can also be a way for scammers to scam you, as the hacker behind the hijacker can redirect your searches back to them using special techniques, which can result in you clicking on a scam, or being spammed with ads and clickbait. A scam typically involves the receiver falling gullible to the deal and signing a deal with the scammer. The scammer could be pretending to be a telecommunications person who works at a place such as AT&T, T-Mobile, Verizon, etc. They may demand personal or sensitive information such as usernames, passwords, bank account details, etc. And oftentimes, the real company will never personally contact you unless they need to. Getting a call or text from a number that claims to be a service is highly likely to be a scam, and so you should block the phone number it came from. If you're receiving emails with dodgy links, unsubscribe from the person sending you emails, or block the person so that no further emails can be received. The most common way people get fooled is often because the email or text has a link in it, which fools them into thinking that it's a legitimate website for them to go to. And that's the worst part. Once you click on a sketchy link, you're now opening up a can of worms and creating even bigger problems for yourself. You're now liable for data theft, identity theft, and other problems. If the number repeatedly calls you or sends more than one text message, it could be a prank caller or a telemarketer. A prank call is often a harmless prank that involves calling a real-world number, where the person making the call can do a wide number of things, from muting their microphone, hanging up straight away, to more silly stuff, such as playing funny sounds or noises to the receiver. However, more serious prank calls involve ones that use any sort of threat, including but not limited to bomb threats, a threat which involves bribing the person for personal information, such as credit card or bank account information. The use of any foul or obscene language is illegal in any type of phone call, and harassment of any type is also common amongst more harsh prank calls. Many countries classify threats and harassment as the same thing, so if you think the number could be a prank caller, it's best to block them, or report that number to the authorities, who can then find out who is actually behind that phone number, what time the call or text was delivered to the end user, and what phone network they are tied to. But a phone often pings cell towers to give the cops an estimate of location, so the phone can be traced down to a physical location as well. Even a phone without a SIM card can be traced by the police without much hassle. If you see any text message from an unknown number, it's best to ignore it and not click on any links included. The link will likely take you to a compromised or scammy website, where the scammer or hacker can then steal your information, provided they ask you for it in the first place. And these days, they don't always have to pretend to be an official of some sort. Scammers can steal your valuable stuff without you having knowledge of it. If you feel like you are being harassed by the caller, it's best to report them to the police, but many online sites to take down scammers also exist. So don't just turn to the cops if you feel intimidated by someone. Scam sites that are designed to take down scammers often have tools which allow for them to find the scammer and stop his or her bad actions. If a phone number has income and call restrictions, it's also likely to be a scam. That number may only ring once, but if you try to call them, you will likely get a message saying there are incoming call restrictions, and you must call back later. But never call back a number that has incoming call restrictions, because it's futile. You will not be able to reach the caller if they have call restrictions. Sending a text to that same number will also fail, as no incoming messages will be accepted. Here are some things you can do to steer clear of scams as best as you can. Number 1. Install an ad blocker in your web browser. Using an ad blocker not only blocks add-ons trackers, it also helps reduce your chances of getting adware, or dodgy ads which convince you to click on a potentially suspicious link. So using an ad blocker will not only make the web experience more clean, but it will protect and serve you as well. Number 2, do not accept a phone call from a number you do not recognize. If the number that called you is one you're not familiar with, do not call or text it, as that can reveal who is behind your phone number, which in this case is obviously you. The scammer can use that information to identify you, and they may potentially try to log into services you use, such as Facebook, your bank account, your Microsoft account, etc. If they keep calling you, it's best to block that number and report it to the police. Number 3, do not open emails with unfamiliar addresses and attachments. Any email from an unrecognized address is a potential scam. And these emails can also be home to dodgy attachments. These attachments, as harmless as they may seem, are actually quite devastatingly impactful on your online life. They can ruin your autonomy and give the scammer complete access and control over your real-world accounts. So never ever open up an email with an unknown email address. It's likely to be a scam. Some services such as Gmail put suspicious emails into spam. So you should always check your spam or junk folders as well, just to be sure there's no undetected spamming going on. Finally, you should seriously consider using a local password manager. I do not recommend online ones for many security reasons. Local password managers do not collect, store, sell telemetry data about your system or the passwords you're storing in them. They also provide more functionality, typically speaking, than an online service, and they are a great way to keep passwords sorted. You won't have to constantly reset a password every time you forget it, because you will be storing them in a safe, reputable password manager. I personally recommend KeePassXC, but other great password managers exist as well. Scammers will often spam you with their content as well, to convince you to buy something they are offering, or to give them access to your online accounts. They may send convincing text messages which try to capture you, and the sad reality is that many people, especially the less tech-savvy ones, fall for a lot of scams. No wonder we hear about data breaches and other forms of theft or compromise to online accounts. This is why it is so crucial that you change your passwords often, at least once a year, if not, more than twice a year. Changing passwords and making them stronger is a great way to reduce your chances of getting hacked. Brute force hacking is a common way to get passwords, and password breaches are very common too. Just look at LastPass data breach, which has turned many users away from this popular online password manager. It goes to show you how critical it is to have a strong, secure, lengthy, and unique password. Never use something that's obvious to anyone but yourself. Never include a date of birth of anyone, or personal numbers or letters which build up to reveal something about you. Never use too many of the same character, and store your passwords in a safe and secure manner. This is of course using a locally installed password manager. Local ones are more secure and they cannot be faced with the same issues that online ones face. However, they can only be accessed on the system they are stored on. An online password manager provides convenience, but at the cost of your security, so I do not recommend using online password managers, as you do not know what the company says is true. They might say they never look at your personal information, when in fact at a government's or authority's request, they will happily hand your precious data over to them without any hassle or fuss. So you should never trust any no-log policy 100%. Take it with a grain of salt and try to find out if that company is reputable for privacy and security. Unfortunately, no matter how much we try to protect ourselves, scammers and spammers are always finding new and more advanced ways to steal or control our data. In fact, rumor has it that artificial intelligence could be a very big way scammers do their dirty business in the future. Things such as voice cloning are becoming a scary but real reality. This is something they could and would likely use in the future when AI becomes far more sophisticated, but as their methods are constantly advancing, so can our methods of protecting ourselves. We shall not get complacent with a person's request for data. You shall remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you, quite literally. Anyway, I hope you found this useful. Hopefully, you can help more people become aware of issues like this by sharing this video. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. See you next video. Bye for now.